Hello there, Dave here, going through the book of Judges today. I'm not going to get through the whole book, obviously, in one video, but I just wanted to get into it. Now, after the days of Moses, obviously, we had Joshua and then the conquering of Canaan. Well, not all of Canaan. They didn't actually manage to get rid of everybody that was there, which causes a lot of problems. And then you have the book of Judges, because now we have victory and defeat in the promised land for the first chapter. And it talks about Joshua's gone now, he's dead, and now victory has not been completed. They're continuing to almost take over all of the land, but they didn't manage to conquer everybody, so that caused a lot of problems for the different tribes as they were in the land now. Judges 2, Israel's failure and God's mercy. See, the angel of the Lord comes down and preaches to Israel, because now they don't have Moses, they don't have Joshua, they just have the Lord God coming to them and speaking to them. How he did that exactly, I'm not entirely sure. He did. And Israel's falling into idolatry. Constantly, they look to the gods around them, the nations that were around them in the places they were conquering, and they were falling into the traditions of the people groups that were there that didn't believe in the Lord God. They didn't trust him or know him or believe in him. So Israel would fall into sin. And there was this constant pattern throughout the book of Judges of Israel falling into sin, God using Israel's enemies to kind of judge them, tempt them. Not tempt them, God doesn't tempt us, but he judged them, put them through trials, and then God would raise up a judge to come in there, destroy the enemies or get them out of the way, and then Israel would be at peace for a while and then get back into the cycle again of falling into sin. I kind of call the book of Judges my days when the Avengers ruled. You know, kind of like the shirt I'm wearing right now, where you had a hero that would rise up, get rid of the bad guy, and the people would be at peace for a little while until another, movie needed to be made or whatever. And then another hero come up, something like that. Judges 3, you have the first 3 of the judges, which are kind of interesting characters. The pagan nations are listed there. God says why he's allowing the nations in there. In Judges 3, kind of gives you the reason. The first judge is Othniel, which kind of sounds like a dinosaur name that I know of. Anyway, I don't know why I'm saying that. Anyway, the apostasy of Israel and them turning away from God at that point. Israel being in servitude to the king of Mesopotamia, and then God delivering them through Othniel, as in the first 11 verses of chapter 3. Then you have the second judge, Ehud, one of my favorites. Israel sins, and God raises up Ehud, and he assassinates the king of the Moabites at the time. I guess it was Eglon. And now Ehud does this because he's left-handed, which I'm a big fan of left-handedness. They never checked for left-handed people, left-handed soldiers. So when they did a search, on this guy, he came in to bring the tribute money, because that's what they did. The bad kings would come in and they would require tribute. So Ehud's bringing the tribute, and he had fashioned himself a double-edged sword, but kept it on his right thigh because he could draw it with his left hand to use to attack. Most people use their right hand. So the men in the castle or men in the place never did search Ehud's thigh. So he pulls out his left-handed sword and he plunges it into the Moab king. Pretty ghastly, but I think it's great. The third judge is Shamgar, and he just mentions him real briefly. Kind of my Thor of the thing. Anyway, Judges 4, you have Deborah and Barak. Deborah is the fourth judge, the only female judge, which is pretty awesome. She's also a prophetess, and the people accepted that, and accepted that she knew God and that the Lord was speaking through her, which is pretty cool. And then it talks about the defeat of Sisera, who was the bad guy at the time, coming up and taking over Israel and making them serve. And the way that he does that through Jahel and the tent peg and everything is pretty amazing story. I love it. One of my favorite Bible stories. They don't teach that one in Sunday school very often. And chapter 5 is the Song of Deborah. God's blessing his deliverance for people, remembering God's preservation of Israel in the past, and remembering this victory. It very well describes Jahel and killing Sisera and all of that. So it's pretty neat. We'll get into chapter 6 next, and Gideon and all of that in the next video.